Um, so for my clinical practice coming up, I'll be teaching 8, 9, and 10 social studies uh, at my school, and focusing on 10th grade world history right now. For example, for like the first unit um, in world history, um, just dealing with like ancient civilizations, I was thinking about like standard one. Kind of the big idea here is time, continuity, and change.
Hmm.
Students will understand patterns of change and continuity, relationships between people and events through time, and various interpretations of these relationships.
Hmm.
So I thought that fit well with kind of the study of prehistory and then some of the earlier civilizations. How do we, some of these essential questions kind of, I think, hit on those those topics. Um, so yeah, I was thinking about using some of these in my units. Um, Another example, this standard focuses on like cause and effect interactions. So some of the essential changes like are about why do societies trade, why do societies wage war. I think that would go well with really any of the units that we teach at our school.
Right.
In
Right.
history, there's always trade, conflict, diplomacy,
Yep.
things like that. But so I've kind of made up a brief plan here with the first week, kind of first day stuff, introduction. I've planned a kind of survey, kind of get to know get to know the students survey.
Hmm.
Um, and one plan I was thinking about was in implementing norms and expectations in my classroom. Um, I learned about this idea of creating a social contract with the kids, kind of having putting so not all the rules, they don't get to make all of them or whatever, but like uh, they get to have some say in what they want the learning environment to be like, and um, and it also it's something that they would sign. It would hold them more accountable. Um, so I want to try that out on like fixed and growth mindset. Just thinking about how students learn, and this would actually be like I'd focus on it up front, but it would be something I'd refer to throughout the year. But then,
I
yeah,
would
from yeah,
I would add to that. I think it's good to show the kids that they can do a lot more than they think they can do.
yeah,
And I think if you give them the opportunity to try doing something and to succeed at it, that paves the way for future success because then they then have the belief and the confidence that they're able to learn something, they're able to achieve.
right, right. Then yeah, after that, day 3 and 4, we'd be diving into the history stuff. Um, so planning kind of day 3, some preliminary kind of basic ideas, basic kind of tools and skills for studying history, and then diving into an activity just about uh, it's called the lunchroom fight. I found it online, but it's like about how like it's like how to determine like a credible source of information. And I thought that would be good
Mm.
leading into that's the idea in a nutshell. But like thought that would be good leading into kind of the chapter on prehistory in the world history book, and following up, kind of ending the week with a discussion day 4, and this might bleed into the next week too, who knows, but like kind of a discussion on like how do we determine what is true about you know history, creation, stuff like that. So um,
I would, if I can make a suggestion about timing,
yeah,
I would say the first 2 days could definitely be condensed into one.
sure,
I personally, I I go over my syllabus. I do kind of brief get to know you thing with new students,
Hmm.
and I give out books. And I would probably even get into kind of the activity you're talking about all in the first class.
Mm.
I try to have it to where I'm starting my quote real teaching into the my plan from like the second time we meet,
Okay.
and kind of hit the ground running, especially at the beginning of the semester when the kids are all fresh and they have all their energy, and you can kind of front
Yeah.
load a lot of stuff and get as much out of them as you can before they start to get worn out.
Hmm.
Um, Especially in light of the fact that our school only meets 4 times a week instead of
Yeah,
5, and our
that's
periods I think
true.
are a little bit shorter than they would be in America. So
Hmm.
in light of that, I mean, we already have little time to accomplish
Right.
plan. So
Yeah, yeah. Just like, yeah, students seated, silent, ready to begin when the bell rings.
yeah,
Homework needs to be on their desk when the bell rings. If it's not ready, if it's not out, it's late. If it's not done, it's late. I'm not going to accept late work. One
yeah, for
thing,
high school definitely.
yeah, for bathroom policy, I think I got lax on it last year, but I think I'm gonna be a stricter. One thing I learned um, was just like you got to be the guy who says no. And sometimes the students will complain and be like, "Oh, but eventually they'll learn. They'll be like, "Yeah, Mr. Stewart, he never lets people go. You just got to go." So, but um,
Yeah, my thing is if it's not an genuine emergency,
right, right,
then they don't go. There's no because you don't want kids going through the hall constantly and they're looking in rooms and being
right,
disruptive. So it's
yeah,
better if
and
we're strict unless it's an absolute emergency.
it takes up time. So
Right.
yeah,
That too.
and yeah, the standards that I was thinking about uh, that I wanted to improve on as a teacher was kind of thinking about this standard 6 on assessments, thinking about multiple methods of assessments to kind of check student growth and progress. Standard 7 as well, planning for instruction. I think the more prepared you are, the better your lesson will go.
Yep.
So I think that's something that I'm often thinking about I can improve in. So not just with content, but also pedagogy, how I deliver the content, and even kind of a diverse approach because all students they learn in different ways. So trying to meet those different needs, I guess. So
Yeah. I think a really important thing too with planning is that you're planning to make the absolute best use of the time every, I don't want to say every millisecond, but every second, every minute is being used well. Your transitions are smooth. There's no like dead time while you're trying to load something. Everything's
mm,
already pre-prepared so that
yep,
you make the maximum use of the time and the kids get the most learning out of it.
right, right, right.